Hey, what's going on? This is a whole lot of Kalamata. I wanted to catch up with you guys. I have not been posting a whole lot of videos just because I've been super busy on my end. Some of the things I am going to be discussing today are some of my undertakings because I've just been mad busy, mad swamped with everything going on. I'm not doing the hair today. I just wanted to keep it messy. I got some new glasses. So hopefully I don't get demolished in the comment section about being a hipster. My lady was giving me crap on that, but hey, is what it is. I just wanted a new pair of glasses so that way I can actually see what I'm looking out of. Firmu, which is not doing it for me. They're really cheap glasses, but they do not fit as securely on my face. That being said, going over the job market, I actually, ironically, finally landed some interviews and I got some information going on next week. I'm going to be kicking that off. So, what I mean, ironically, is that I have to prove to the unemployment office I have a mandatory meeting. Otherwise, my benefits get dropped and I have to prove that I have been adequately searching for a job, I suppose, even though when I'm filing my claim, I'm indicating with a link, here's what I'm applying to. So, might have been my fault. I asked for help during that process, but I've applied for 105 listings so far. It's been really, really aggressive between the whole political year going on. The debate just kicked off. I was making some memes on it, just making fun of both party candidates because it's just the entire thing is just ridiculous to me. It's no longer a debate as to why you should vote for that person. It's usually just insulting the other party member. I obviously have my beliefs as a Christian, what I think needs to happen, and then who I think needs to be in charge. But I'm not going to necessarily need to get on my political platform. That's not what I want to use this for. I just want to be genuinely myself and say that time and place for everything, right? Um, Job market's been super weird though. Cybersecurity has been like next to impossible to get into. Everybody's asking you to be like this top tier engineer where you know several different languages. I've had some different offers from different companies, some banks specifically, talking about Ansible and knowing how to do JavaScript and knowing how to do all sorts of different things. And it's funny because when I talk to people that are way higher up in the IT realm than I am, like I was like, oh yeah, like I got told by one of my buddies, go look for how to do Python, and I was like really wanting to do that, but um, one of the pre-test assessments I took for this interview, you have to take the assessment before you can actually be interviewed. They ended up full on wiping the interview out for me. They canceled it. And they're like, no, we're just going to go with this other applicant. Like, they didn't even interview me. Like, that's how bad I did on the assessment. And it just really made me reevaluate the whole like Python element that I was pursuing. Um, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today. I am way too all over the place with trying everything and anything to try and get to that next spot rather than trusting in God. And it's just kind of been a lot. Like, I've been reading books, I've been cleaning up around the house. I had some broken tiles fall off the rental property I'm on, so I cleaned that up. Ended up spraying for scorpions. There's this huge one that I found that started chasing after me. Funny enough, thing went completely limp on his tail. Like, he was like got it all posed and then it went "Roar," and he just like fell over after it'd been spraying for 2 minutes. So that was fun. But yeah, I had this huge grout tile undertaking where it was the entire like house. The grout was just like awful looking. It was just pure black. So I've been doing a little bit of that. I've been nerding out, building a Gundam my buddy gave me. So I've been having some fun there. I've been trying to still build up this recording studio that I got. I've been looking into different options for acoustic material. My buddy did give me some foam pads. And I was trying, I'm not saying everybody's giving me everything between my handout from the government. And, I still believe I was wrongfully terminated. I'm not going to get on that horse, but just he had leftover material for the acoustic foam. And my buddy, he had like 17 Gundam kits in my defense. He was just like, here, you want one? Take one. So that was super cool. Been building that. Finally got it all present. I'll put it up in maybe one of the shots or something, maybe put it on my desk. But yeah, it's just like really weird in the job market right now. Kind of going back to that. Like, I was noticing I usually work tech support roles. And that's just because they pay well. But going kind of back to what my therapist was saying, he was saying like none of your values are checked off on these roles, and it's mainly what I'm noticing is when people play identity politics, like at work, it's like I really don't care for them. I went and actually looked at one of the companies I used to work for, which was a job board. If you find me on LinkedIn, you'll know the one. But they were hiring people, and I'm sorry, they got they had 23% in like a year time frame of people of their employees they had to let go, and 23% attrition as far as like loyalty for your company. I'm not going to stick around for a company like being low man on the totem pole. Like I'm replaceable tech support. I've worked contract roles. I get it. Um, I'm not gonna hope and plead that you end up keeping me. I think that's going to be ridiculous to like, oh yeah, I'm going to get back into the same environment that wasn't good for me, where you were sending me 5 emails a day with 4 of them saying trigger warning. It's like, dude, I'm there to do work. I'm not there to like read trigger warning emails. So I just thought that was kind of funny. They were hiring, and I was like, nah, I don't think it'd be good to go back there. At least not for me. Did apply to one political job that I thought maybe that might be the route if it specifically had the word faith in the job title. So that's why I actually did apply for it. But it's a political faith kind of platform. I thought that was just really cool. It stood out to me. It's like, oh, cool. I could actually help the kingdom on some level and have it be like my day job. Like that's awesome. So haven't heard back from them. It's been super recent. I think it's only been like 2 or 3 days since I applied to that one. But one of the job listings at the tech support, there was a listing in my city because I've been having to apply for all these jobs, and the city that I reside in, it just doesn't get that tech support, job. Even like on the remote ones, it's just been seeing hundreds of applicants. I've been using one particular job platform over the other one that I worked at, just because I've seen the internal elements of the fraud there, and so that's what I've been using to my advantage. But there was like a job listing that was tech support in my city, and I go to check it on it, and it was literally posted one day ago. It was already taken down. There was already over like 100 applicants, and it's just insane where this job market is at. So I know a lot of people are hurting. I've actually talked to some of my brothers and sisters in Christ, and they're talking about people left and right are getting let go. Like person who's been at the company for 8 years got let go. And one of my buddies, he's working at a bank, really, really well-known bank, and he's been there 5 years, and he just keep getting like dumped on all sorts of job duties. Like, no, this is what you're gonna do now. This is what you're in charge of. By the way, you have this project and you also have this going on. Make sure you get to that. And it's just like, dude, what? So, big hint if you want to look into it, I'll just say this. That bank in particular had somebody die at it, and they didn't notice for 4 days. So, if you want to look up that story, you'll know the bank I'm talking about, but not wanting to put that necessarily name inside of my video. I do want to be platform agnostic at some point and start having the availability to put my videos on other platforms. So, I just think it'd be who of me not to burn my bridges and not put that out there too much in terms of who I know and what I know. But I know some people. And that's the cool joy of being in the kingdom and having brothers and sisters in Christ when they're open and they talk about their stuff. It's not about airing out their dirty laundry. No, it's about connecting and hearing from them what they're going through and supporting them in that. And they're supporting me. So it's been awesome. I'm still going to my Bible study groups. My church actually ended up having a celebrate recovery night. So I ended up going to that. They had the head pastor actually speak at the main auditorium, the main sanctuary. And that was really cool just to kind of have a night of worship and have everybody do their element of like, hey, I'm going to get plugged into this. And this is, that's what the church is supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like a hospital and less of like a rule keeping, I don't know, boarding school or something. Like it's supposed to be genuine. It's supposed to be a place where you can be yourself. And that's why I like CR. I ended up leaving CR for a bit And the whole point behind that was to get one-on-one therapy and to start doing something a little bit more dedicated to me, because these elements where you are going there, if you are needing help, by all means, I encourage anybody to go to Celebrate Recovery. Like, if you don't have the funding to go get therapy, dude, Celebrate Recovery is for you. There is a group for everybody. I mean, I remember before I took my little hiatus, they were talking about doing like a food addiction one. There is everything from drug abuse to sexual integrity to what is the other one? I've been to it a few times. So like, I think there's like a narcissism one, but there's a couple. There is a codependency one. That's what I'm thinking of. Alcohol. There's all sorts of different ones, but character flaws of how you've integrated yourself. Like, if you're one of those people like, oh, I'm just a person that has a short fuse. I just get angry easily. That's just part of my personality. I've always been a hothead. Like, as somebody who is a redhead, like, people have always attributed that to me, and I've sometimes, admittedly lived up to it. And so that's part of the reason I go. I go for a variety of reasons, pride included. But a little bit of everything. I go for sexual integrity. I go for, being honest with myself that, hey, I don't always treat people in a loving fashion. I'm very quick to judge. I'm very quick to get angry. In fact, I actually, speaking on the sexual integrity front, I went and took a Jay Stringer webinar. It was 3 hours long. It was super cool. He had like all sorts of things that he went over. Now, he had based this off of a 1999 at least study or book, and I'll have to plug it in, but it's about this window of tolerance. Basically, there's hypoarousal, where you're feeling numb, you're like vacant to the world, like nothing influences you, nothing impacts you. And then you're hyperarousal, where it's anything sets you off. You're super or emotionally charged, you have everything impacting you, you just take everything personal. You're instantly rage baited into everything and anything if it doesn't go your way. It's not just a sexual thing, but it's talking about this framework of having your mind wrapped around the ability to have your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system ultimately be quelled with about 3 to 4 activities that you would have. So something that calms you down, and then something that takes the edge off, that you use that energy, whether it's going to the gym or mountain biking or hiking or whatever. Something that gets you out and physically going, or something like breathing exercises calms you down. So that was super informative, awesome. It was well worth the money. I actually had a buddy join me on that. It was really cool to kind of hear his input, which reminds me, I need to get him some information. I was going to get him Jay Stringer's book. So I'll have to circle back with him on that. But going over some of these other elements that I got here, I've been drooling over a new motorcycle. I did this crazy super bike time vibes to upload of just all this bike footage that I had captured, and was just really trying to put it all to use, get the scene transitions in there, and zooming in and zooming out, and getting the shadows on the bike, as far as like the shadows is casting and the time of day. And I've been getting frustrated because my helmet isn't the best. And so sometimes I'm encountering like a ringing in my ears, and I'm trying to prevent, by all means, I'm only 33, hearing loss. So that's something that I'm super concerned about. Just like, I don't want to have progressive hearing loss and just be like, oh yeah, hold on while my tinnitus or whatever it is acts up. I've heard of guys that are veterans ultimately having that. They'll just stop doing it. They're just like holding their ear, and they're trying to actually listen with the other ear, but they have that ringing going on. And so, funny enough, I think it's actually caused from me going to the gym and listening to music too loudly too. So I don't think it's just that. I think I need to get the proper like sized earplugs, because when I'm riding motorcycle, the helmet, I switched from like a medium and a large to a small, and so it just scrapes the ears to the nth degree, which pulls like the plugs down or out. So the seal and the gap that you get isn't as strong. But that's something I'm kind of wrestling and toying around with. I was super pissed because I ended up getting like, I ordered the Nex helmet, and it was just like really cool, had all the features that I was looking for, was like ECE, rated and all that, and it had the latest rating, the latest safety rating for those that don't know. And it was like the 20.06, I think it's what it's called. Regardless, I'm probably butchering it myself. Which is supposed to be a really safe, super quiet. Supposed to have acoustic like foam cheek pads or whatever, so everything's quieter. But yeah, I ordered it, and then it was coming from like an international company. And they're like, "Yeah, it'll arrive there by December." And this was like August time frame. I'm like, dude, I'm not waiting to ride like all that time. So I just ended up going to Cycle Gear and picking up a helmet, which is kind of frustrating. And I still want the helmet, but now the price is jacked back up. It's $75. It's like $80 more than when I ordered it. So like, oh, it's in stock, and I'm like, yeah, I'm already still unemployed and still got to deal with this. So I got some other footage. I was just super angry because I ended up just randomly when I got the helmet and I just wanted to try it out. I didn't grab my camera, and it was the best overcast day here in my state. Like it literally had the best footage of just Mother Nature. The clouds were enveloping the sun, and you just got these cascading rays going through the sky. It was just amazing. So I was kind of kicking myself afterwards, like, man, I really wish I would have gotten that. But I ended up going to the dealership, and funny enough, I used to work at one. So I was that guy always harassing people for the sale. Um, that's part of making a friend, man. I don't care who says what. If you're really going to be good at sales, you have to learn how to make friends, how to win friends and influence people. Never read the book. The way that they redid like the 21st century one was basically be like this loser on LinkedIn and end up lurking around and just like following people and like, oh, this is how you make friends. And it's like, yes, no, take an active interest, but you can do that face to face. And so that's to me where the book kind of lost me. Just the fact that it's like, yes, I got to stalk somebody on LinkedIn, or I got to like follow somebody on Facebook and start like just always engaging them. And I'm like, dude, I got time for that. Like, if I'm working a 12-hour day over at my dealership, yeah, I don't care if you're there to buy something or not. Like, I care in the sense that I'm going to make a paycheck, but I'm going to still talk to you. I'm going to still treat you with respect. And it's just funny that people that are like, oh, I'm just browsing. I'm just browsing. And I still use that line to this day when I walk into someone else's dealership, funny enough. Um, it's just like out of habit. But it's funny because it's like I was always told like, hey, this is the right place to look. What are you looking for? And I would do that, and people get like irritated. And it's funny because I would always spin it around very nonchalant and be like, hey, you need directions to the restroom? You want free water? Do you want coffee? Do you want to buy a motorcycle? What are you here for? I can point you in the right direction for parts, service, whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be just the sale. And that's kind of the at least element that I took, the approach that I took. I didn't always try to immediately go for the sale. Now I wanted to be of service and be helpful. But that's kind of the stance that I'm talking about as far as that book goes for how to win friends, influence people, is it's just like, just take an active interest in people's life. And that to me is what's going to help. I ended up talking with a couple of my friends. I've been working on the bike. I had my driveway is at the rental property is like absolutely nuts. I ended up dropping the bike way back when, and I broke off a foot peg. So I just got that replaced, and I was being an idiot while working on it. I didn't realize there was a metal ball bearing that dropped out on the ground, and I thought like, oh, these stupid kids are like shooting around metal BBs, so I threw it away. No, that was actually a part to the foot peg that keeps it locked in place, locked upright, because now it just sags without the ball bearing. So I'm like, great. So ordered like $24 worth of parts. I'm like, it's not like I'm unemployed or anything. I had to buy the foot peg, which was $24. Now I have to order the parts. It's $24. So it's adding up. Sad to say. But got to sit on this brand new motorcycle. The fiance completely was like, oh, I'm all about it. Like, she sat on it. Thought it was amazing. I thought it was amazing. There is both a Suzuki GSX 1000 GT. That's the future iteration of my Suzuki Bandit that I got. And then there was also a Yamaha Tracer 9 GT. Both those bikes were awesome. I just like the skinnier profile of the Tracer. A little bit more different. I think it's got the semi-active suspension. It's also got adaptive cruise control. So it's just kind of like bonkers out there tech. It's like an additional $2,000-$3,000, but hey, is what it is. Always fun to dream. At least when I went to the dealership, I was honest with the guy because he was trying really hard to get my business, and I was like, dude, I already want the bike. Like, you don't have to convince me. And it was just funny because he was just like, "Yeah, it's a great bike," and I'm like, "Dude, I've already sat on the bike. I already know this is the one that I want. I already have the old iteration. Like, you don't got to sell me on it." And he's like, "Well, what can we do to earn your business today?" He's being very cordial. He's being very nice. Um, no knocking against him. But he's just like, "Yeah, let's get you written up on a thing." I was like, "Dude, I got the 800 credit score. I know I'll qualify. I'm not worried about it." And then he's just like, "Well, why don't we do it?" And I'm like, "I don't got a job right now." So big hint if you're ever looking to both piss off a salesman and also defeat the interaction, just say you don't have a job. So little tidbit there for if you go to the dealership. It's just too pricey right now, man. But it's like, I just feel like on a new vehicle, yeah, this dealership's got to get their money too, and they get it in service. But it's kind of like, man, if I'm supposed to change the oil at 600 miles, like, ugh, like I don't know if I want to just immediately go expend one of those ones kind of thing, and then or go drop, like I've already dropped 20,000 on the bike or 30,000 on the car. It's just things are going up. So kind of just a fun interaction just to go daydream during my time off. Ended up going to poetry night though. That was really cool. I've been practicing this one. I want to upload. I want to get a clean take of it. It's called Parkinson's Pencil. So I've been working on this one for a little bit. I'm going to use my same camera that I got for the bike. I'm going to try to record it on that. But God ended up laying it on my heart after I performed it to add a little bit more. It's just 2 lines, so it wasn't a whole lot extensively more. But I didn't have that perfect recall. And when I ended up recording it at the place that I recorded it at, I ended up stupidly putting the camera and pressing record next to the bar. As a result, it captured all the audio of the bar. So there's just a lot of background noise. Like you can kind of hear just like a little bit of it. But it's just like I don't want to have a half-hearted, like I don't know, recording or take if I'm going to introduce some of the stuff. Like I just wanted to get it more on par with what I wanted to present. Like if I'm going to present it to the world, it's like, nah, I want this to be pretty good. And yeah, you're always going to have mistakes. Somebody's always going to nitpick. I'm not worried about that. But it's just like when you're worried about recalling what you're going to say, you don't always get the same emotional impact, that the same emotional delivery you want out of yourself. So as a result, I'm probably going to find a way to, perform that again. I signed up for a writer's workshop that they ended up having at this poetry thing. So I'm super excited for the writer's workshop. I just want to check that out, kind of flex, not my skills, but stretch myself, kind of push up against the grain just to do something more. I've been needing to grow in that department, and I feel like God's calling me there. I just haven't been prioritizing it because I've been prioritizing everything else. My dad's got a company. I've been trying to help him out a little bit here and there. I've been tackling these interviews and unemployment, and then there's Python. I tried the other day for like 4 hours trying to figure out Ableton, why my stuff wasn't working, because I actually have music that I'm going to upload and ultimately get presented out there. And I know go through DistroKid and all that, but it's just so frustrating. I spent $170 on this freaking Native Instruments complete S49 controller, and it's not responding. It's not coming through my monitors. So I'm just like, okay, why is this not working? So I'm having to get Ableton updated, and then I have Ableton 11, but then I also have 12. It's just a mess because it's the DAC is not on the ASIO, like ACO thing, and that's probably a lot of technical jargon nobody cares about. But that's the point. Neither do I. But this is like I have to fight with this for 4 hours. So I'm just at that point where I'm like, God, can someone else press the record button? And that's kind of where I find myself at. I just want my poetry to be better. I've been working on this fifth song. I got 4 songs recorded altogether, but I've been working on this fifth one, and my producer is not available. So it's just been super frustrating. I've been reading a lot of books. Rick Rubin's The Creative Act has been awesome. I'm 300 pages deep out of 400. Been reading more of the Bible. So there's just like a lot more that I want to dive into and express and upload. I've just been super busy between Celebrate Recovery, going to that webinar. My parents visited. They're not in the same state as me, so ended up getting that out there. I also ended up going to an event. My buddy, shout out to him, invited me to. Frank Turek came to my state and ended up speaking at a college campus. So I actually got to briefly interview. briefly interview Frank Turek just on 2 questions that I had. And so I wanted to present that in the material. I was super stoked just to get the opportunity to ask him. I'm going to be honest, I was incredibly intimidated. I was like, man, here's a guy of like 62, 63 years. I forgot how old he said he was, but he was like super on point, on mission for God, in the sense of like he knew what he wanted to say, he knew how to articulate himself, and then he knew how to like authentically, with evidence, back it up. But then he also knew how to take questions and talk to people. The Q&A was probably one of the better elements, and that's just because he has the I'm blanking on what the website is. I'm going to link it down below. But he has his whole initial element about the existence of Jesus Christ. And so that's why when you watch the video, it's me saying like, dude, I'm already Christian. Like, you don't have to like sit here and try and convince me. Because there were some people before me that came up and just tried to start debating him, and like, I know everything. I'm in college, or my opinion that I formed in the first 20 years of my life is completely like has all the validity I'll ever need for my life. Like, they ended up coming with a closed mind or with an agenda. And there was like one guy that claiming he was Christian, but he was actually another denomination, and he just argued with him like incessantly. And I was like, bro, get off the mic, like stop. Because it wasn't enjoyable. There was like a collective sigh of relief when he finally left. Um, and it's just about respecting your elders, I guess, in that sense. And it's like, dude, if this is your platform, this is your thing, this is what you've done for like not just like months, but years on end. Like, he's a prior Navy vet who, has clearly encountered Christ in his own life, in his own walk. And he's got so much insight to share. And so that was just rewarding to kind of see somebody from an older generation put things in his words without it needing to be all church-esque. Like, he was using a lot of scientific understanding, but also theological understanding. So it was this intermix where it was uniquely Frank Turek. So if you've ever watched Frank Turek, if you know of him, awesome. I want to say it's like crossexamined.org. I might be butchering that. But first time seeing him, I didn't look up any of his videos. I'm much more on the Cliff Nechtel train. And that's just because I think Cliff debates in a very articulate manner that's very cool to see. But all that being said, I think that there's a lot more to upload. I'm already running like 30 minutes deep into this. Just been saying, haven't forgot about it. Definitely still pursuing YouTube. There's just a boatload of things to still do. People are like, oh, you got to get on OBS and you got to download the software. Dude, there's like, I guess, a really steep learning curve for that. And then it's like, okay, do I keep using Clipchamp? And then I also got the steep learning curve that I got to figure out for DaVinci Resolve. I hit up one of my buddies that's really good with camera work and trying to kind of hear what he's going through, just be there for him. So, Mitch, if you're watching, shout out to you. That's the homie. Derek, same to you. You're the homie. But yeah, for everybody else watching, thanks for tuning in. Hope that you are doing well. God bless, and thanks for your time.